Welcome back to the Gamecocks Football Captain's Log. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers, joined by my co-host from Morris Island Charters, the captain himself, Captain Petey. Captain Petey, how are you doing?
Much better than expected.
Yes. So, we went to the game.
We did.
And depending on how well my editing skills are, I'm going to post some footage in this episode of us while we talk about the game as well. We'll see how that works out. If it didn't happen, you know it worked out poorly. Blew the doors off of Texas A&M, who I hate their fan base. I hate their fan base so very much.
They make it so easy to hate them, though.
Yeah, they don't really put up any resistance. And so just seeing their fans unhappy was great. Our fans being happy was great. The environment was great. I remember very little about the game. My voice still hasn't quite recovered.
Mine hasn't either.
But what were your main takeaways? Because it kind of feels like we are doing – it would be a 180 if we were real people, and we are real people. What would be the boat move where we're turning around – the way that we're turning around on the Gamecocks this season, going from being so disappointed in them to now we're going to fight for them. We're reversing course on the Cocks.
So I have thoughts about this.
Yeah.
This game was a lot closer than it appeared. The real difference here was Sellers. He had so many opportunities to be sacked, and he just escaped because he's 240 pounds.
That's nice.
And Reed is 180 pounds. They're basically the same player, except for one is a lot bigger. Because neither team had a sack, although there was multiple opportunities for each team to have a sack the entire game, but the quarterbacks just kept escaping the pocket. And the first sack wasn't until 7 minutes left in the game, where I can't remember who got it. Was it Sanders? I think it was T.J. Sanders got the first.
I think it was T.J. Yeah.
We'd been in the backfield, and then Reed would escape every time. Same thing versus Sellers. Sellers just was able to take a hit and not get taken down. I don't know how many times he had hands on him, and they thought he was down, and he just was somehow able to squirm out of it and either get downfield or throw it away. That is probably the main difference. I think, and then also our ability to run the ball was just
killing them.
Yes, we were able to run the ball. That Sellers around the end or Sanders around the end. Was just not stoppable. I don't know why they were so bad on the edges, but that was really surprising to me, based on how good this defense has been in the past. And then the third thing was just we kept stopping them on 3rd and short or 4th and short, and giving us great field position. And this was a tie game at halftime. Yeah,
it did look like we jumped out early.
Yeah, and then at one point,
you start to get a little nervous at halftime when it's tied up.
Yeah, well, they were. They came back. We're winning 20-17, and I was like, well, this is it. We had our chance, and now they're just going to run away with it. But we had a decent, drive to tie it up at halftime, and you and I were there watching it, and we kept seeing that Harbor. That entire drive was in man coverage with the corner, and we were screaming to run Harbor to the corner, and they never did it. Kept doing little crossing routes with him across the middle of the field. Why are we doing this with him? He's the biggest person on the planet. He's faster than anybody else. Just send him to the corner. That's exactly what you're supposed to do with him at that point in time of the game.
Yeah, because even if you don't throw him the ball, it opens things up for everyone else.
Right.
So I don't know. I just checked. Looked like it was Tonka Hemingway with that first sack, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the running game between Sellers and Rocket Sanders, they were unstoppable. Still have some of the stuff with Sellers where he's sliding before he gets to the first down.
Yeah,
But what can you do?
but he's getting better.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot better, and this was his best game so far. He did also have the strip fumble where it got called back for defensive holding.
Yep.
So it saved us on that. There were so many times in this game where it could have gone the other way with big plays. It just like penalties or something called it back where we saved ourselves. Sanders had a fumble. Also, Reed had a lot of missed or bobbled exchanges with the running back that could have gone our way, and they just didn't. This game was really a game until 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yep, and then we crushed them from that point forward.
Yeah, once we got the first sack, then we got a sack two plays later, and then they just fell apart.
Yeah, it was like they were like bending and not breaking for so long, that offensive line, and then when they finally broke, that was it. Offense has been the story of the season. Was the offense, in your opinion, was it better because the play calling was better or because they were just executing the mediocre play calls better?
So for sure the offensive line was executing better, but they still whiffed on a lot of blocks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times Sellers just had, they didn't even block the guy, and the guy was right in his face, but I think it was the first play of the game. Scooby came right up the middle and hit Sellers, but didn't wrap him up, and Sellers escapes, and I think he throws it to Sanders for like 15 yards. But that was the story of the entire game. They would get hands on Sellers and not bring him down. But if those fuck ups on the offensive line had turned into actual sacks, this is a completely different game, and probably we're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Defense really came to play as far as they basically stopped the run, and they were not able to, convert. Texas A&M was always, I think they'd only thrown the ball twice on third or fourth down with 3 yards to go the entire year, and they ran it. And we stopped them, which is not what we're supposed to do.
No.
Not what we're known for.
It was very strange to see it in person.
Yeah.
I don't, it was just so bizarre. And then there was a point, probably when we're up 30-20, where I'm like, wait a second. Normally at this point, if a team's coming back on us, they've started doing something, but they could just never get rolling. And I was overjoyed. I was just thinking of all the Aggies fans, and I was just overjoyed because I hate them.
And the thing was that they were always moving the ball.
Yeah.
They could move the ball, but once it got down to like the 30 or the 40, something would happen, and then they couldn't convert. And it just, self-inflicted wounds or, things would happen, and just it's kind of like us against Ole Miss. We would move the ball but couldn't actually get any points out of it. And you go for that long in the second half when it comes down to it, you have to get points. It's a problem.
Yeah.
And then they kind of imploded after 7 minutes. So just
yeah. And I do want to shout out, we yelled about this guy all season last year, wanting him to get more touches. Josh Simon.
Yes.
Wow.
I think he's
a
already
tight end who can break tackles. Give him the ball.
Imagine how many first downs we would have had last year if we just threw it to Josh Simon instead of Trey Knox.
Oh, my gosh, man. They were killing us last year with that. And now we don't have a choice. You have to throw it to Josh. And he was a monster.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the I think it was the first play he scored on. was actually the same exact play that he scored on against Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah, same play.
This kind of goes to the play calling point about how you don't have to do anything special or complicated. Just keep it simple and execute well.
I think that's really what has saved us with Loggins and moving from Satterfield to Loggins. It's just that I think Loggins has realized like simplifying things is a good thing for us.
Yeah.
It was it's still a little complicated last year. He's getting a little better at it, but this year it's even better. Also, within college, you don't need 100 plays. You need 12 plays. And you're going to run those same plays out of 3 or 4 different formations. It's the same play. It's just it looks a little different. So just keep it simple and let the guys do what they do.
Yeah. And you already talked about the defense, how incredible they look and how much better they've gotten.
Yeah.
I do think we need to move on and talk. So 5-3. We beat A&M, who was number 10. We should have beaten LSU if the refs had not intervened. Almost beat Bama in Tuscaloosa. Only real bad game is Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Poll comes out.
And then you have to count all the injuries on Ole Miss too.
Yeah. To where they're changing rules.
Yeah.
So the top 25 poll comes out. No South Carolina in the top 25.
Which is insane. That's just the strength of schedule we've played. Okay, obviously we've lost 3 games, but you've got all these Big Ten schools and ACC schools or AAC schools that are ranked, and we're not. Like, we just knocked off the number 10 school in the country, undefeated in the SEC. Their only loss was to Notre Dame, week 1. Obviously, we didn't look great early on in the season, but we are coming along.
Yeah,
and we have made it very difficult for Alabama and LSU, and now Texas A&M.
So the Big Ten is the biggest fraud conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, between them, ACC?
I see ACC. I can't. I've never had any. Big Ten does have, Ohio State and Oregon and Penn State, but.
So I think the reason that it's the Big Ten for me is that no one really takes the ACC seriously. I feel like we all kind of acknowledge, okay, they're joking around. I feel like people still take the Big Ten seriously, and they get ranked highly based on simply playing each other. Like, they don't really go out of conference and play top teams, and they just play each other. And I mean, outside of last year when they had the lunatic manifesto guy giving them the play calls, they don't really win national championships. And that was such a fraud national championship that Harbaugh left to go to the NFL. That was like the first time a national championship coach had done that in forever, because he knew, I can't replicate this. They kicked Buddy off the sideline. He was dressed in disguises and shit. I'm so tired of the Big Ten. I'm going to go through.
They're absolutely a fraud. Like the margin of competition between the top of the Big Ten and the bottom of the Big Ten is very wide. But you can say the same for ACC as well.
Yeah.
The thing is the top echelon of teams in the ACC is who? Like, they can't compete with Ohio State and Oregon and Penn State. Like, you've got Clemson.
And I would say even Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State's a bit of a sham.
James Franklin just can't win a big game to save his life.
They're always going to be ranked just because of their Penn State. That's why.
And it's just, I just don't understand it. I'm interested to see Indiana's number 8. I want to see what happens with them.
Have they played anybody good though?
Oh,
I think they beat Illinois, but I don't know.
My gut says no.
Probably not.
But I will double check for all my Hoosier fans. Let's see.
Like if they played Boise State, who do you think wins?
Yeah, like there's no one here. Like there's no one, no ranked teams I'm seeing.
The same with like Iowa State. I mean, Iowa State was ranked 2 at one point, but who they beat? Nobody. I don't know. Maybe Iowa or not. Yeah, no, Iowa State's in the Big 12. So,
yeah. Let's. I mean, no. So they beat. Yeah, Indiana beat FIU, Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State. They play Michigan this week, and then finally they play Ohio State the week after.
I think Nebraska may have been ranked when they played them, but it's been
and then they drilled them.
Yeah,
but it's like, if you give us that schedule, are we not also undefeated at this point?
You would hope. I mean, you would think so.
I mean, with our defense, we saw what Iowa did last year. Our defense isn't Iowa level last year, but our offense is certainly better than Iowa's offense was last year, and they made it all the way to the Big Ten title game.
Yeah. There's just, I think there is a clear bias on just like a win-loss record, which I somewhat get, but also look at who they're fucking playing.
Yeah, like let's be for real.
Like if I'm playing preschoolers every week, why do I get to advance in the rankings when I'm 12-0?
Yeah, and this was a conversation that we started last night, and I was interested in your thoughts because you were. To hear you passionate about a positive thing related to the Gamecocks.
This is stupid. This is not.
I believe it. Like I'm kind of on your side. I was like, I disagree. I did agree, but I do think it was a closer case than you thought initially. That's the only disagreement. But I do agree with what the general premise.
So to be fair, I don't teams, say, like my case was not like for sure we are better. It's how do you tell us we're not?
So the conversation was Texas A&M is somehow the second team out of the college football playoff ranking right now. So they're 14. If they were to win out and we were to win out, who would go to the playoff in that scenario? And we would have one more loss than them. But I don't think you can take them over us if we've beaten them head-to-head as convincingly as we beat them head-to-head.
Yes.
If we both went out.
A&M has had a much weaker schedule than we have.
Yes, this was your argument because who have they beaten? They beat Mizzou when Mizzou was ranked.
Yeah, but obviously that's not. Missouri's not as good as we thought they were.
Yeah. Was it A&M? I mean, not A&M. LSU, I mean.
Yeah, but we should have beat LSU.
Yes, if not for
Sellers getting hurt.
Yeah, and the referees.
Cheating.
Yeah. And then so winning out would have them also beating Texas, which would be a big win, we would guess.
It would.
But then we still have.
Texas is that good. They lost, to Georgia and almost. I mean, it was a one-score game against Vandy. Vandy's better than we thought they were.
Yeah,
but what? It's still Vandy.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, and we're going to get to the Vandy predictions.
Ranked? We're not. How is Vandy ranked and we're not?
Great question. So, well, let's go to that, and then I'll finish up with the overall playoff-related question at the end, because I do have one final playoff question. So, Vandy this weekend, they're 6-3. They are. I mean, that's like national championship for Vandy. Honestly, 6-3. They're going to a bowl game. congratulations, everybody. Clark
Last
Lee.
time that happened, it was Franklin got hired at Penn State the next year.
Yeah, so if Clark Lee is still there next year, whew, I don't know. I don't know what to think. But going there, any particular thoughts about Vandy? How are you feeling about Vandy now, coming off this win?
We've been talking about it for a while that we think that we're going to lose to Vandy. I really think, though, our defense is going to show up.
Yeah.
And Diego Pavia is a good quarterback, but doesn't have the escapability like Reed does.
Yeah.
So I really can't see Vanderbilt's offensive line doing better than the Aggies line. So I think that the defense is going to cause so much havoc in the backfield for Vandy that their offense is going to turn the ball over for one, and just have fits against our pass rush.
17 points last week in their win against Auburn. So we were watching that at the tailgate. 17 points against Auburn is like 7 points against a real school. So, have you seen the spread?
I have not.
Would you like to guess what the spread is? And then we'll see what the Dolphins say.
What time's kickoff?
4:15.
So it's partially night game. I'm going to guess that we are favored by 5.
Favored by 3.5. Opened at 3 and has moved up, though.
Okay.
So I kind of have a feeling now what the Dolphins are going to say, but where are they laying their entertainment porpoises?
The Dolphins are riding the bandwagon, or the riding the bandwagon jet ski, and are going to go with the Gamecocks this weekend.
As they should. So the playoff question I was going to ask, Vandy this week, then we got Mizzou, then Wofford, and then Clemson, of course. Assuming we're winning, when are you really starting to pound the table about the playoff for us?
If we went out, and if Texas A&M loses another game, then I think that we're right there. We should be, 13, 14 on the list. And then going into the SEC or conference championship weekend, I would assume that some of those
someone's going to lose.
Yeah, someone's going to lose. So some of those playoff rankings are going to get switched up again. Obviously, we can't lose a game we're not playing in, so we should be in like a good position for a 12 spot or maybe a 10 spot.
So yeah, currently 4 teams in the SEC are in the playoff, and then A&M's first one out for the SEC, second one out overall. Yeah. So we have to be top 4 in the SEC, top 5 if we want to get on a graphic. With the way things are headed, can we get to top 5 to get on the graphic? I just want to be on the graphic. Don't even send us. Even if you select us to go to the playoff, we can stay home. That's fine. I just want to be on the graphic.
So if we went out, I don't know how we're not, because I think that we got 4 weeks to go in the season. So all these teams ahead of us, I don't know how we're not ranked as it is.
Yeah,
are gonna have to play each other and lose some games. So there's got to be space. There's got to be spaces that move up. There's going to be a whole lot of jumbling going on here, I think. Because if we beat Clemson, we'll jump up. We beat Missouri, we'll jump up. Beat Vandy, we'll jump up. That's knocking 3 teams off the list right there.
Yeah. So we're getting close. Currently, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 9th in the SEC. So we got some work to do, but we do have the game we got the Vandy game. If we beat them, we'll jump them. And then I think like head to head, we've beaten A&M. Whatever happens with them the rest of the way, going to be tough for them to beat Texas. But if they lose to Texas or if Texas loses to them, I think we've got an argument there too. we're going to need a lot of help, but I'm getting real close. Especially if we win against Vandy this weekend and Mizzou, I'm going to start asking to be on the graphic.
We just can't have A&M lose to Auburn.
No.
Which I think they next week, don't they?
We need them to remain impressive enough
until they play Texas.
Yes, that our win against them still looks impressive.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we did it. We are now fully aboard the Gamecock speedboat, riding it into the darkness of whatever is going on in the college football landscape. It's terrifying. You can't see anything. There's no lights on the boat. It's full steam ahead. But this is Gamecock football. So, I mean, you know what you signed up for.
Yeah, let me be clear. There's absolutely no way we should be in the playoffs.
Not at all.
I mean, we're not that good of a team.
No.
Unless we greatly improve over the next 4 weeks and show me something different. But I can make the case that we should be.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Just enough of an argument so we feel good about ourselves as a program. And if we finish up like we did when we beat the shit out of Tennessee and Clemson to end the season, if we look like that offensively, along with what our defense has been doing, I'm going to be real obnoxious on this motherfucker. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to track down Herb Street or whoever I have to talk to, and I'm going to be real obnoxious. So prepare yourselves. And none of this will matter when we lose to Wofford. So
no, it won't.
It's going to be great.
It's going to happen.
So, do we have anything else to cover?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
The environment Saturday night was incredible. I saw another show, a rival show that I will not mention, did a segment on the Gamecocks game experience, and they said it was a very poor game experience. The tailgate situation was bad. Everything like that.
You have to tell me who this is.
We'll have to discuss it.
Yeah,
that person, complete idiot.
Yeah, we win tailgate. We might lose the game, but we always win the tailgate.
Undefeated at the tailgate. Tailgate's awesome. Plenty of great spots to tailgate. Atmosphere is great. Going into a night game with the lights and sandstorm in 2001, fireworks everywhere. You got the guy who's on mushrooms or something dancing with his light up sneakers in the spiral. It is like we deserve a medal for what we did creating that environment.
I do feel like the environment this weekend was better than last year's too.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, last year was was it the first year with the new lights and stuff?
I think so.
So we've perfected it more, and we're even better at it now.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome. And I got some videos. I'll send you some videos.
Yeah. So hopefully I can incorporate that into this video, and that would be nice. But no. Here we go this weekend. I would hate to show up here next week and talk about a loss to Vandy, but I don't think that's going to happen. I truly believe in us. And
it's hard to have faith.
Almost. I'm very scared. So I don't know if I truly believe in us, but I do believe in us, and that's all that matters. But yeah, on behalf of the captain and myself, we'll see you next week after the next Gamecock win. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.